Hey everybody, Clay Archer, CEO DBC Technology. And if you're like me, the prices of tech in 2026 is driving you crazy. The price of RAM, the price of hard drives, the tariffs, the data centers, the AI, it's driving the price of RAM and hard drives and basically everything in our home lab through the roof. So these are the strategies I would recommend in 2026 to make your technology budget go as far as possible. I'll put timestamps down below. I'm going to go through a lot of strategies here, and some may be more appealing to you than others, and you can jump back and forth to them with the timestamps. And with that, let's jump right in. And the first one you may not want to hear, it's kind of akin to going on a diet, but most of the time, and I am certainly guilty of this, we overbuild our home networks. But like I say to my clients, good value engineering is going through the requirements and then paring back the technology to fit within that budget. So what am I talking about? Let's jump into store.ui.com and I'm going to go through some examples here. So you probably do not need an enterprise fortress gateway at your house. And at almost $2,000, it probably isn't the right fit. But as you go down the spectrum of the devices that are available right now, you probably are going to go immediately, I want a Dream Machine Pro Max. And that may be overkill for you. If you are just looking to run a nice home lab, you probably don't need a Dream Machine Max. You go further on down the line, maybe a Dream Machine Pro might work for you, or if you don't need a large hard drive for your Protect storage, a Cloud Gateway Fiber might be a better fit for you. And I would even go a step further. Although I love a Cloud Gateway Fiber and I think it's an amazing device, a Cloud Gateway Max does almost everything that the Cloud Gateway Fiber does. It doesn't have the 5 gigabit IDS IPS, but how many of us truly have 5 gigabit fiber coming to their house? Probably not. And I think the Cloud Gateway Max is a heck of a machine. And look, it's $80 less. And that's the kind of savings that we're looking for here. You know, we could go starting out at a 600 device down to a $199 device. Well, that's going to buy you some storage. And that's the price differential that we're looking at now. And honestly, for most people, you won't notice the difference between the Cloud Gateway Max and the Dream Machine Pro Max in your home network. So for me, I have every one of these devices and I could use every one of these devices at my house. I use the Cloud Gateway Fiber, and when I'm away from my house, I use the Cloud Gateway Max. When I'm in Colorado for the summer, I don't notice any speed difference between the Cloud Gateway Max and the Cloud Gateway Fiber. And honestly, for the $80 difference, I think it's a margin call there. So let's move on over to Protect here. I think in this environment, this UNVR instant, and I've said this a couple times, is a really good setup for most people. Now, are you going to be able to expand as much as you would be with the UNVR? No. But I think for most people, this is a really nice spot. And I think the kit, this is an excellent value for most people. I think these G5 Turret Ultras are incredible cameras. And I really think this whole deal is really nice. And as hard drive prices increase, they haven't really increased. Now, this is only a 1 terabyte hard drive, but you could buy this now, wait a bit, buy a bigger hard drive in the future if you fill it up. But I think those kind of decisions are where you value engineer this and get exactly what you need instead of buying everything and turning everything on that you may or may not use. Now, with this 1 terabyte drive, you're probably not going to do full-time recording. You're probably going to do things on motion events, which is fine. The software is really good. It handles that well. And those are the kind of decisions we have to make right now just to save storage, right? Like you could put a big hard drive in this and record much more, but in this environment, do you really need it? And that's the question you have to ask yourself. And you can value engineer these things. Let's go back into cameras and security here and talk about cameras in general. And I've said this a couple times. I still think this G5 Ultra turret is an amazing camera. It does not have all the latest, greatest AI features, but if you pair it with another camera like the G6 turret or the G6 Pro turret, you get those features where you need them. And so for me, I would put these around the house in places where I need to see things happen. I need to see if there's motion. I need to see basic stuff happen. I don't necessarily need facial recognition or anything like that, but I just need good surveillance. And these are perfect. They're beautiful cameras. They work really, really well in all conditions. Now, if it's the front door, the back door, or somewhere where I really need facial recognition, I might use a nicer camera in that spot. But the concept here is to mix and match and not waste money on things that you don't necessarily need, but you just kind of sort of want. And the last one I'm gonna jump in here is on the NASs. Obviously, hard drives are super expensive right now. So maybe buying the amount of storage that you need in a smaller unit or buying smaller drives in a larger unit, you can kind of do that math to figure out where is the Goldilocks spot for you in that. Now, later in the video, I'll give you some hard drive recommendations and some strategies on getting large hard drives. But for the NAS itself, maybe considering downsizing. I still think the UNAS Pro is a really good spot here at $499. I think that really is a Goldilocks spot because I think this unit does everything that I need in a NAS and it's scalable, but you can start off with UNAS Pro and only put a few drives in it. That being said, the UNAS 2 with 2 drive bays and only being $199 is pretty appealing. And obviously you can size those 2 hard drives from around 1 terabyte to around 30 terabytes, which should be enough for most home labs. But again, I think choosing the right piece of hardware and all the components that are going in it for your particular needs is super important in this environment. So that's going to bring me to our second category, which is reusing hard drives. You may have seen Michael's video last year where he got a UNAS Pro and he reused the drives from his Synology. Most of us have old tech lying around where we have drives. So if you have an old computer or a NAS that has some drives in it, you certainly can reuse those. Obviously, you want to be careful, have a good RAID setup, and have backups of your data, but this is a great strategy to reuse old drives. Now, if you saw Michael's video, you know that moving the data was difficult and took some planning and strategy, but it ultimately saved Michael hundreds of dollars, and he's got the exact system that he wanted within his budget. My next strategy is to use refurb gear. You can find a lot of refurb drives on Amazon. Server Parts Deals is also a great source. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Not sponsored, but they are a great source for refurbed gear. But you can save quite a bit of money by using refurb drives. I've been using them for years. I have over a petabyte of storage in my home lab, and I would say that my refurb drives haven't failed at any higher rate than my new drives have. But I have found that refurb drives are a great way to save money on your home lab without giving up much in return. Like I said, I'll put links to those down below. That brings me to my next strategy, which is just simply buying used gear. The good news about UniFi stuff is it's really pretty robust, and I have no problem with buying used gear. I don't do it very often, and in the past, I was always worried about UniFi doing an end of life on something, but UniFi's gotten really good about end of life, and I don't feel lately they have end of lifed anything prematurely. So with that, I think there's a lot of value out there on the used market for not only stuff that is currently being sold, but maybe some a little bit older stuff. You can jump on eBay and Facebook Marketplace and find some really good deals on some relatively new gear. I caution you on both of them. I've had a few bad experiences on eBay lately, and Facebook Marketplace can be a little sketchy. But if the savings are significant enough, I think there are some deals to be found there. I also encourage you to look at some of the little bit older UniFi gear. Like a UDM Pro is still a great piece of equipment. Some of the older WAPs are just great. If you're just looking to have good Wi-Fi and you don't really care about the latest, greatest features, there's a lot of value to be had there. And honestly, your experience with a used UDM Pro is not going to be much different than your experience with one of the brand new devices. That being said, if I'm only saving 40 or 50 bucks off of a new device, I am probably going to buy it new from UniFi versus trust the used device. But if I'm buying it at half price, or I'm buying an older piece of equipment that I know is going to work well, I think there's some real value to be had there. One other option I will say in the used market is the Ubiqiti Stock Alerts channel. They have a few channels on their Discord server for people looking for gear and people selling gear. I think that's a great place to go where you got a lot of like-minded individuals that will sell you decent gear, and you know that they kind of know what it is, and you can see that they've sold stuff in the past. So I'll put a link to that in the description down below as well. One last thing I'll mention, and this may not save money for everybody, but you can self-host UniFi OS. And in certain situations where you don't need to run the OS on the controller, or if you find a UXG in the secondhand market at a good deal and you can't run the software on it, self-hosting the OS is a viable option. In certain situations, that can save you a few bucks. And if you're just trying to manage your devices in the right situation by running a UniFi OS on your own gear. So it's definitely something to explore if you're really trying to save that last little bit, or you get a great deal on a UXG device in the secondhand market. So none of these are truly magic bullets. They're more about budgeting, taking the time, planning out your system, budgeting what you do need, how much money you have, and figuring out how to blend those into the best possible system. I urge you to be really honest with yourself and buy what you need in 2026, not just what you want. With these prices as high as they are, and people saying this is going to last through 2027, maybe into 2028, I think this is the time to be frugal and smart and buy the tech that you need, not just the shiny object that you want. But you guys are really smart. If there's anything I missed here, please put those down in the comments below. I'd love to have that discussion. And as always, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Happy hunting.